So now it's time for your report this year, and from what I know, it will be dedicated to the better ways to organize the campus for its individuals, for the community, and there was a long introduction, and we want the details, please. You're welcome to start.
Oh, thanks so much. Um, Gosh, okay. We had Anton was helping us slides, and maybe this is a good time to do that. Oh, wait, there we go. Now we got slides starting. Now there's a little bit of a delay on my side, so nothing is appearing so far. But the reality is that maybe we don't need slides.
No. We need. Don't make him relaxed. He has to maintain just in case. You know what?
All right. Hey, there we go.
We have John. We have today. We have a Christmas planning. Christmas planning detail. We have two Christmas balls here. When I show you the yellow one, can you see the yellow one?
Yeah.
Yes. We try. It's a testing. We have two flags, also yellow and red, but we will start with the balls. When I show you the yellow one, it means that you have 5 more minutes. When I show you the red one, it means that I'm starting to sing a Christmas song in a couple of seconds, okay? And
it's a good
report
Russian
is over.
Christmas song. I like those. So yeah,
Okay.
then maybe I can join in too. I don't see the yellow so clearly on because the slide's down. So just do this when it's 5 minutes left, and then I'll know. Okay. Yeah, that works too. All right. All right. So when we wrote Nomad Society, that was what 5 years ago that the book came out, and so I think a lot of ideas are maybe a little bit old. Sorry, guys, you just translated the book. But we present some ideas and some theory. But I wanted to follow up this year with some more practical ideas about what this means for universities or looking at the university level of really what we're getting at. And I know that this conference is really blending the virtual side along with the physical side as well. So I want to talk about this sort of public university in the nomad space or nomad society, as we might call it. So just give yourselves, everybody, I know it's early in the morning or late at night, but just think for a moment, what is a revolution that you want to see on the campus of the future? Whether if it's at TSU, it's at Manchester, you're at the University of Minnesota, or whatever. Just give that a forward thought for a moment. What is the one core revolutionary thing that you want to see? And of course, we do have our chat, and we're also on Twitter, so use the hashtag Connect-Universum. And if you want to chat with me on Twitter, I'm at Moravec. I'm going to go to bed right after this, so I'll respond to tweets tomorrow. But it's a nice way for us to keep in touch. So post your ideas on there because I want to keep this conversation going beyond just this 20-minute session, okay? So I'm going to talk about my take on the future in higher education a little bit. And these are really driven by 3 trends. We've got accelerating technological and social change, and we've got the emergence of nomadic knowledge workers, and globalization. Now, these things are described quite a bit in detail in Nomad Society, but let's think a little bit. Let's think a little bit more specifically what this stuff means for higher education. All right, so we've got a list of short-term heart trends, and these hard trends are impacting higher education that I think these are things that we really need to take into account. And I think a lot of best thinking in the future of higher education comes from libraries and medical fields. And this concise list was published by the Journal of Graduate Medical Education. In case you can't see it, it's talking about outsourcing of education, technology as virtual learning companion, learning analytics and big data, learning as a consumer and co-designer, and regulation and realignment, like laws are changing. Now, none of these trends really challenge the fundamental concepts of what universities are or how universities will operate. And these things are just largely stuff that really reinforces what we've been doing. So I think that if we really want to be relevant for the future, we need to focus on bigger things, the big, longer term trends. And this is our opportunity, is to just really break out of the thinking of these short term trends and really build towards the future. So what's happening, right? So these are the trends that I talk about in nomad society. We talk about it moving from a traditional domain to something that's more nomadic, where we've had fundamental relationships that are very simple and easy to define to ones that are much more complex and creative. And I like to use the word teleological to really show that systems are becoming so complex that they're creating their own goals, they're creating their own outcomes. Order used to be very hierarchic. It always used to know who the boss was, what their different roles were, right? But now we're self-organizing, we're taking on new roles and new positions, and we're fitting in things like we're adapting quite a bit. Our relationships used to be very mechanical, but now we're seeking out synergies. What can you and I create that's bigger than any of us? Our world used to be determined for us. So if your grandfather is a baker, your father is a baker, you're expected to become a baker, and your last name is probably Baker. Or in my family's case, they're all butchers, and so my grandma's last name was Rzeczniczkowa. But now these careers don't exactly exist anymore. We have to design our own futures. And now it's becoming even stylish in the communities that we live in for young people to get married to just reinvent last names for themselves. Causality. Change used to be so slow that it was very linear. It seemed very clear that A caused B, caused C, caused D. Time happened slowly. We couldn't understand it. But now time and space seem to be compressing, and we're hitting this space that seems almost anti-causal, where B is causing A, which is causing N, which is causing A also. And oh my God, we have Donald Trump. Like, where are we getting this stuff from? We're seeing a whole lot more creative destruction within organizations. And reality, and this is a big challenge for schools, reality isn't objective anymore. It's becoming much more contextual. How do you see the world? How do you interface and how do you interact with the world? And of course, we're becoming much more globalized. Now, the thing is, okay, that's a very nice chart, and you can ask yourself, so what? What does this mean for higher education? So we can look at what the campus of the future or the university of the future, whether it's online or physically based, would look like within the nomadic paradigm. So these fundamental relationships where we're seeking out teleological goals, they have to facilitate creativity. The core of the university needs to facilitate creativity, make creativity happen. They need to empower all stakeholders so that we can make these things happen. The universities need to build relationships. Universities need to enable serendipity. And this is a big challenge for us because we're so obsessed with teaching the truth or saying that this is what the truth is. Now, sometimes we need to enable things, so sometimes we stumble upon things. Universities need to enable design and adapt, react, and pre-act. They need to be agile and capable for reinvention and creating new formats and new approaches. You have to craft applications. And I think that most importantly, that universities need to engage the world. And this is something that I really liked about Connect-Universum, because that's what we're doing today, right? A university or a campus should not be isolated or insulated from the rest of the community, whether it's like within Siberia or if it extends to the rest of the planet, right? A university of the future isn't multicultural, it's not intercultural, but rather I'd argue that it's transcultural and accepts that it will reshape and transform itself. So as technological change accelerates at an exponential rate, we should expect cultural and social transformations to happen at accelerating rates as well. And a university that's transculturally oriented keeps itself open quite a bit to transformation. Got it? Don't deliver information, create knowledge. And I think this is one of the biggest problems that we have within higher education, that we've gotten so good at packaging learning that we've really forgotten what knowledge is about. We focus on delivering and measuring information that we've had for a long time. So to be very clear, data are bits and pieces here and there from which we form into information. Knowledge is about taking this information and creating personal meaning. How we build knowledge from the same pieces of information will be different than how you build pieces of information from, or pieces of knowledge from the same information. And we get into testing and compliance things. And sure, we can test what you know, but that simply degrades things back into information. So personal knowledge is something that makes us, I believe, very unique, and it's built from tacit and explicit elements. And tacit knowledge is kind of like learning by doing, and explicit knowledge is kind of the hard knowledge that you can get out of reading a fantastic book like this, which also makes a great Christmas present, just so you know. I like to say that the future belongs to nerds, geeks, makers, dreamers, and nomads. And this is a key element of the book, is that the future of work is changing. The future is nomadic. It's not static. And we don't need packaged brains anymore. And so the problem is that we need people who are creative. We want people with individual talent. We want people who are curious. We want people to dream. We need people who can take on the jobs and roles that software and robots cannot do, most importantly. So a nomad society, and this is all in the book, I can get it, this will be real brief here, but nomads are creative, imaginative, innovative individuals who can work almost anytime, anywhere, with almost anybody. And they contextualize what they know and what they know to create new value, applying it. In 2013, we wrote that we projected that 45% of the Western workforce will be nomadic by 2020. I think we're going to break that by quite a bit. So many people are already nomadic. Many people not by choice. There are many careers or occupations that are disappearing. Like we're seeing lawyers driving Uber, for example, taking on different roles. That's part of the nomadic thing. But nomads also work within organizations, connecting things together, creating new value. And we're breaking out traditional job roles. So nomads can be anybody. They're not restricted by age. They thrive in flat networks. They learn and unlearn, relearn as necessary because knowledge is continuously changing. Nomads use new technologies purposively. They construct knowledge. They contextualize the knowledge that they create or that they possess. They learn continuously, tacitly and explicitly. Oh, I see that I got the yellow bell. They love to collaborate. They love to share, and most importantly, they're not afraid of failure because failing is one of the best ways that we learn. So I want to ask you guys how I'm doing so far, but I'm going to jump ahead on that right into design orientations that we need to have for universities of the future, right? So the take that we have, and this was a paper by Farid Noriega and his associates and on the horizon, but I think it's a great list, is that universities need to be agile and adaptive, activity-oriented, comfortable and safe, signify membership, playful and seductive, and affordable. And when we really get into it, we're really talking about that the university of the future needs to look more like a festival. More like a gathering space. And I don't mean like a festival, like a big party, but rather a festival where people from diverse backgrounds come together and share. That's a fundamentally creative space to learn, to work, to live, to play. Festivals are places where serendipity is enabled. Not everything is pre-programmed. I think that as far as curricula goes, there are some huge implications for that. We got self-organization by students is enabled to discover and learn what is important for their own individual development. And I think that this really goes beyond the instructor-student co-creation, as students need to become the source of their own individual direction. Festivals are places where movement is rapid. You follow the flows of your own interests. Groups of people form their own seminars. It's not just a formal experience. And there are many other invisible ways of learning that are attended to. And space is used fluidly and designed fluidly to allow flexibility and repurposing. But this also has to apply towards online technologies as well, that we're not sticking or stuck with specific ways of using technologies as well. Now, I have a whole lot more to share, but we are completely out of time. So I do want to say that I just posted on Education Futures a day or so ago, much more detail on this going into the university as a festival, and also each of these points that Farid Noriega and his team did as we look at what the university of the future might look like. So at this moment, if there's any time, I'd be happy to entertain questions or criticisms, or I would be happy to sign the book virtually for you guys as well. So just let me know.
That would be great.
Am I making any
How would
sense?
you do that?
I don't know. We're going to figure it out. We'll figure it out.
About that. Thank you very much for your presentation. It was great. It was great to hear again, to see you again. And it's funny because if someone listens to the audio without the video part, this part with "I got the yellow ball" will be really tricky one for the person. Yes, we have time for one question. Who has the best question here? Like the best in his life? Anybody? I do.
I'll take the
John,
second best question too.
what is the most I'm just kidding. What is the most inspiring environment for you personally? Have you measured your inspiration in different locations, at home, at work, in a park?
For learning or doing or?
For everything.
I think that for anything.
I mean, you work, yes. When you work, you also, you think, reflect.
Right. I think that a lot of the inspiring environments should always be where you go. But the thing is that you have to go. You have to push yourself to go. You have to push yourself to explore. You have to push yourself to talk with new people. You have to push yourself to try that new coffee shop down the corner. You have to push yourself. Why not? Just go travel to Prague. You have to push yourself to do that because that enables you to learn more and contact with other people and also build some more intercultural connections and thinking. I think that really helps people survive and adapt much better in nomad society. And not just intercultural, but also transcultural, recognizing that this movement, these conversations also transform ourselves and our own perspectives and our thinking and what we do. Am I making any sense?
You are a lot. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to meet you here again. Thank you very much for the pleasure to be part of your life for the last 2 years. And we hope to see you again next time. Because we're building this community. We have, yes, we have some kind of a team already of this conference. And the next speaker has been our regular participant as well. And she's from Canada. And maybe if you have some time, you can be with us a little bit more. And I know it's going to be, it's night right now. It's late evening. Just in case you leave us, good night.
I'll watch for a little bit more. I'll grab a glass of wine and relax. I'll chat on the chat thing, and yeah, I'm here for a little bit. Okay.
Thank you. I forgot to mention that actually everyone who is online right now can write questions in the chat. Of course, we will not be able to read all the questions, and Maxim is trying to make some point, has been trying for the last 40 minutes. We will try to respond to the most, I don't know, interesting, shocking maybe, and the site of our Yes, and but of course our participants, they can communicate online in the chat again. So if you hear and someone asks a question, you can answer if you have time, and if you don't have too much wine. So bye. Thank you very much.
Bye. Take care.